Whenever you guys want to order some discs, go to discgolfmarket.com. Promo code HOMESLICE. Enjoy the video. What is up, YouTube? HomeSlice back at it again with a disc golf comparison video. What do we have today?
Today we are looking at the Innova Mako3. And what else?
The DD evidence.
Alright, so we've got the evidence and the Mako3. And the rims are very, very different. You can see this has a lot more of that kind of that slope, I guess we're calling it, whereas this is just very round. This feels really comfortable in the hand. This is not quite as comfortable. The evidence is very flat, whereas the Mako3 has a little bit of dome, but not really that much. The ones that we were throwing were actually almost like a puddle top. But we do have a couple other ones that we used to bag that were a little bit flatter. All right, the evidence. We only had it in the lucid plastic, but it is, I'd say, like a straight to maybe understable mid-range that it was weird. You can get, it gets out there. Like it is, you can get a lot more distance than what I was expecting. And for me, it's getting, and when I'm releasing it flat, it's gonna get a little bit of that turn. And then it'll either just sit flat or fade out a little bit. It's not super understable. Into a tailwind, you can see there it flew really straight and then just kind of fell out at the end. That was a bad release, but you can kind of see the same type of shot there. It's a nice spot to fill in your bag, but it's really straight. All right, the Mako3. We had it in Champion plastic and Star plastic, and the flights were pretty similar on both of them. I didn't notice any major differences, but this was a little bit less stable than the evidence. So when you release it flat, it wasn't fighting out as much as what the evidence was. So you were getting a little bit more turn, still some decent distance, but not the same amount of glide that the evidence had. But for like this might be a good disc for someone starting out. You can see there with the tailwind, it was just dead straight. Where the evidence, it was fading out a little bit harder, but this is just a super straight to maybe a little bit understable depending on your arm speed. Definitely a useful disc to have in your bag.
The dynamic discs evidence. Great all-around mid-range for the tight wooded courses where you just want to hyzer flip something real nice and easy. This disc is, like Brad said, very sneaky fast and far. Glides forever. Like a lot of the dynamic mid-ranges we've gone over, they glide for, I mean, they're the glidiest mid-ranges I've ever thrown. This is the first one, though, that didn't feel the best in my hand. I won't lie. I wasn't a huge fan of the rim and the way it felt in my hand. But other than that, the flight, there's nothing to complain about. You throw it on an ante, it just holds it. Like, you throw it 80% on an ante, it just holds. There's a little bit of a chance it might come out, but it's dependable. I fell a little bit there, but you can tell it just holds a straight line. It's a very, very straight disc. Headwind, it's a little touchy. Just be careful. You'll learn it after you throw it a couple of times. Tailwind, this thing bombs. Throw it on maybe a slight hyzer or flat, it goes straight forever. Forehand, it's touchy. It's actually really nice because it's a little faster. I can crank on it a little bit more, but you throw some hyzer on it, crank it, 50, 60, 70%, gets flat, glides, falls. It would be really good for the tight wooded shots. The Innova Mako3. This is a very straight disc, just like the Evidence. I think it was a little bit less stable and maybe a hair less glide. Still a very far throwing mid-range. The big difference between the two for me was this felt better in my hand. It's actually a lot more rounded, therefore it contours my hand a little better. But hyzer flip, I got a good crank on that thing. It just turns, and it just holds it. You crank on these things, they will turn. Throw some hyzer on it with like 80% pull, it goes straight just like that. That was a low release, but you can tell how straight this disc really is. So another one of those great wood or tight fairway shot type of disc. I mean, you need one of these in your bag. One of these discs, this type of disc needs to be in your bag. It's great for manipulating the angle, getting these big turnovers. Forehand, this wasn't as fast as the Evidence, so it was a little bit touchier. But you can tell from this one, I'm not putting too much on it. That one turned, I put a little bit too much on it, but you put a little bit on it, that Champion, it just flipped up straight, rode, and kind of just sat down. It didn't really fade, it just kind of went straight and sat down. So really great forehand disc if you've got that finesse flick.
All right. It's time for a recap. What did you think about these two discs?
Very similar in flight, but one had an edge on the other.
Ooh, I like what you did. I like the rim.
Honestly, the Evidence flew probably a wee bit better for me. Just got that extra distance and that dependable fade, but the rim, I didn't connect very well with this disc. I know plenty of guys that do throw the Evidence. It's very good compliment to the Truth or the Verdict and the DD line, but I went with the Mako3 purely because of the that rounded rim. It's a really comfortable rim. Not quite the glide of the Evidence like we talked about, but I will not bag any of them because I have a super beat in Truth, and it does everything I need. I throw Truths as mid-ranges, so it makes no sense for me to bag one of these. Unless I lost that Truth, I would probably steal one of the Makos in the home slice stash, but I don't see that happening anytime soon.
That's pretty confident of you.
I don't play enough.
I bagged the Evidence for a while, actually. It just wasn't quite what I wanted. It wasn't quite as understable as I wanted it to be. So kind of recently, actually, I switched to an MD from Discmania, which feels almost identical. If these aren't the same disc, I'd be very surprised. So I think just because right now I was having trouble finding anything but C-line in the MD, and I can pretty easily find Star and Champion in the Mako3. The flights are the same, feel is the same.
It just makes sense.
This is probably going in my bag. I liked it. It's a really good shot to have in your bag when you need those either hyzer flips or just those really straight to, for me, if I need it to just go a little bit to the left, these are going to do that.
Also, for standstill shots, I use that type of mid-range for those standstill shots where you can't get your lower half in them, so it almost flies like a stage higher in stability. So it's very dependable from a standstill.
Yeah. Oh, another thing about these discs. So my brother recently started playing, and I gave him the evidence. He liked the way it felt, and he was throwing it really well because it's just understable enough that like a newer player can get a little bit of distance with it, and it's not just going to fade out real hard. Because he also he's throwing a truth right now also, and it just dumps a little bit. I mean, he's new, like super new, so it dumps a little bit too hard. Whereas this, he can get some pretty good distance with it. So if you're a newer player or getting a newer player into it, and you have some evidences, let them try those.
Any level player, honestly, at this point, if they are like, man, I don't have that flippy mid range, or I don't have that straight flying mid range, evidence, Mako, either or, they're going to be happy.
Yeah. So either, I mean, if you like the feel of the evidence, these are very similar. But I do think the Mako 3 is just a little bit less stable and feels a lot better. So yeah, this is going to be in my bag. And check out all those slammers.
There's a criminal. That gold one's a criminal.
That's a mantle full of slammers. That's pretty cool, huh? Yeah, you might be seeing a review of that sometime soon. But maybe not. We'll see. Yes, like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you're sharing it with your friends. And that's it.
See ya.